Hey beauties, welcome back to Real Girl Talk Podcast Radio. I am your host, Sherry Ricard. I'm a medical professional, business leader, author, speaker, and adversity recovery expert, bringing you fascinating guests, business, beauty, and lifestyle tips to help you create a beautiful life, and always committed to keeping it real. Now let's dive in. Hello, beauties. It's Sherry, your host of Real Girl Talk, and I'm so glad to have you back listening to the podcast. Thank you for being here. I have a big announcement. Backed by popular demand is my 90-minute strategy coaching session to level up, find your calling, and expand by monetizing your passion and purpose. Jump over to realgirltalkpodcast.com, click private coaching tab, and let's get going. Time sensitive alert though, because I'm only taking a handful of clients until next year. Also, make sure you follow on social media and sign up on our mailing list. My guest today is a beautiful, brilliant businesswoman, and you will know her from Bravo. Elyse Slaine is with us today. Elyse grew up in Long Island, moved to New York City after college. She was one of the first female bond traders at Cantor Fitzgerald, and she is also an ambassador for Animal Humane, as well as the chief beauty officer for Beauty Society, and I am fired up to have her with us today. Elyse, welcome to the show. I'm so excited to have you.
Thank you. I'm excited to be here.
I know a lot of people know you by way of The Real Housewives of New York. You were on season 12 and had a little drama. So we're just going to satisfy the listeners and tell them what they want to hear about that drama, because we have way too many other things to talk about, because this lady is a businesswoman and we want to hear. She's also a chief beauty officer for Beauty Society, and her skin is glowing. So we want to talk about that too. So I know that you grew up in Long Island and then you moved to New York City. How did it come about with you being on The Housewives of New York?
So I go back with a lot of the women from the show, including the previous cast.
Okay.
I was the one who introduced Jill Zarin and Bethany to one another. So that's how long I know these ladies. And I've known Ramona a very long time. And I never asked to be on the show. I never had a desire to be on the show. In fact, I didn't watch it beyond season one because the fighting really stressed me out. So it was pretty spontaneous that I came on. I was meeting Ramona for a drink. She was filming with two of the friends, and that was the very first scene when you see Ramona for episode 1 for season 12. She was filming with two girls, Missy and Maria, and I was meeting them for a drink after. So I sort of was sitting on the side watching them, and then ended up joining in, and that's the first time you meet me, and I thought would be the last time you would meet me. But then I kept getting invited back here and there. Sometime before Newport, they had sent me a contract and asked me if I would be a friend of the show and have a more regular appearance on it. And I sat on the contract actually until 2 days before the first episode aired, because I found it very onerous and couldn't come to terms with them.
Yeah.
So yeah. I was filming without a contract. So some of the editing is, I think, a little odd to people because I show up spontaneously. I'm here, I'm there, but a lot of times I don't know what had just been filmed a few scenes earlier because I wasn't there.
Right.
And now I'm here and I'm relatively quiet because I have no idea what these women are fighting about.
But somehow you went from meeting them for a drink to becoming in the midst of that. And I think that's pretty easy from what I understand of the Housewives, because like you and I had talked about before, I do have some friends that are involved in Bravo and the Housewives. And I know a lot of the editing gets really confusing for the viewers because we only see what we see, right?
Right.
You guys know what happened all leading up to that. So we only see a small smidgen of a percent of everything that's even filmed. But what we did see was you and Ramona button heads.
Right.
What point did you say, I knew it. I knew this was going to happen. This is what I was afraid of.
So you did not see the triggering event that got me very upset with Ramona and almost made me walk off the show.
Ooh.
And it was after the haunted house episode, and we were all at dinner. Luann had come at me pretty hard, and she went to a topic that was a no-go zone for me out of deference to other people in my life. And that was very clear to Ramona, to the other women, to the producers, that this was a no-go zone. But she went there, and I just said, all right, I'm done. And I walked away. Shortly after cameras came down and we were done filming, Ramona, all of us were outside. Tinsley and Leah were going off in one direction. Sonia, Dorinda, and Ramona were going out for a drink. I am visibly very upset. Sonia and Dorinda said, come with us, come have a drink, let's talk. And Ramona said, no, Elyse can't come. And I just sort of like looked at her. I said, I can't come. I mean, keep in mind, this is a woman who I made part of my family, right? So she would show up unexpectedly often when it's just me with my husband, and we just always made room for her. So when she said, I can't come, Sonia said, well, you know, Elyse is upset. Why can't she come? And Ramona said, what are you upset about? And I said, well, you knew that I had a no-go zone. And she said to me, well, you don't have to talk about it, but we can. That's when I went, whoa, like this woman clearly is not my friend.
Yeah.
She wanted me to have her back on the show, which I did. And even past that point, I still did. But I said to her, I would never do this to you.
Right.
I said, with all the things that I keep confident for you, you know, keeping my confidence.
Right.
This is what you say to me. And then I'm not welcome to join you for a drink. And I said, you're no friend of mine. That was pretty much how our relationship ended. And the next day, the producers, now they had been trying to get me to call her out all season because she wasn't treating me nicely. She sort of was putting me on the end of the table and she was ignoring me. So it was bizarre that she wanted me on the show and suddenly she didn't want me around anymore. And it wasn't her inviting me anymore. It was the other girls. It was the producers. So when the producers said, you know what, you know, why don't you meet with Sonia and just talk about how Ramona wouldn't include you to go out for a drink afterwards. So I said, okay, I'll do that. And my big, you know, what was my big sin is that I said to Sonia, Ramona, you know, Ramonaville's filled with all one-way streets. That set Ramona off. Now, if you think about all the things that these women say to one another.
Yeah.
But I was clearly being held to a very different standard. And it was, you know, Ramona's rule was you have my back, but I don't need to have yours.
Yeah.
So that was really the demise of our relationship. And we tried to, well, I tried to fix it, I should say, Halloween when I approached her at Luann's dinner, right? And I said, do you consider me a friend? And she dismissed me once again. When I tried to comfort her after Dorinda came after her, and she again said, you know, you're the least of my problems. So her behavior was repeatedly bad.
Yeah.
And I was trying to figure out what happened because I really have no idea why she changed. She went from being very excited and very interested in having me on the show, and I was the one who was hesitant, to I became persona non grata, and I never knew what it was about. And by the time she wanted to talk about it, when filming was done, when she had approached me to have a sit down and to tell me that she missed me, I had no interest anymore.
Yeah. I think at that point, you probably had just had enough. And, you know, here's the thing, Elyse, I think that, you know, we watched that occur on television, but in actuality, I think women deal with a little bit of that, not maybe to that extent, but they deal with a little bit of that in their own friend groups and maybe in their work environment. I think that, you know, when you said I reached out and I tried, and by the time she reached back, I was not interested anymore. I think that we have to do that. We have to protect ourselves, because how important is it in a friend group to keep a relationship that you really are not going to forget? You know, I mean, we can push somebody to a point in a friendship or any relationship to, yes, I can forgive you, but you're not going to forget. It's just not possible to forget, but we can forgive because we want to be forgiven, right? But in any stance, it was really sad to see all that. And I hate that. I'm assuming you guys are still not friends, if that was the end.
We're not friends, and we are in the same friend group now. The 50 best friends that she always refers to, they're a little bit like Lord of the Flies.
Yeah.
Right. So someone in the group is always Piggy, the one with the head on the stick. Right. So they're not really best friends.
Right.
They're social friends, and some of them, you get closer to than others. But she really then was, after everything was said and done, I was not discussing her with anybody, not publicly, not to the friend group. She did not stop bad mouthing me, and she did turn some of the 50 best friends against me. And I just said, I'm at a point in my life. I know the value that I add to someone's life, and I know the type of friend that I am.
Good for you.
Thank you. I mean, I'm the person you call in the middle of the night, no questions asked, I show up. So whoever doesn't value that about me, I'm just not interested.
I'm the same friend. And, we were talking before about my son, and I was always that one where people would come to and talk to because they knew that I was that kind of loyal friend. Look, I'm going to be there for you. Whatever you're going through, I'm going to be there. And whether it is, crying on my shoulder because of a relationship, or you've got something going on with work, or if you just need me to put on your makeup, heck, I've got girlfriends in their 40s that say, Sherry, help me color my roots. I've never done it before myself. And I'm like, girl, Clairol is your friend. And I've done that for them before. So when my son passed away, it was very hard for me because I was not used to doing that. I was the one that found comfort in helping other women get through, my friend group, helping them get through whatever challenges they had. So that was really tough for me. So good for you knowing what your boundaries are and knowing your worth, because there's so many women that don't know their worth. And it breaks my heart because they allow that abuse in relationships, whether it be in their marriage or boyfriend or in their friendships. They allow that constant emotional abuse because they don't value themselves. Thank you for sharing that with us, because I want to step into the business aspect of your life, because we don't want to give Ramona that much airtime.
Thank you.
But I want to talk a little bit about the fact that you've got a good, strong financial sense about you. And I want to learn from you. And I know some of these women want to learn from you. And what really stuck out to me is that 5 years ago, you started trading cryptocurrency. And I told you I had an opportunity to do that. My son, who's now 20, he was only 15, wanted the same thing from me. And I said, son, that's just a scam. We're not going to get involved in that. So tell me how much of a mistake I made.
You know what? You did not make a mistake.
Okay,
because
good.
Cryptocurrency. Okay. So first of all, my background is Wall Street and trading and technical analysis.
Nice.
So it's not the same as someone who is not a seasoned trader who can really get hurt. And even as a seasoned trader, and I started out in bonds. I was one of the first female mortgage-backed security traders at Cantor Fitzgerald. I'm heavily involved with equities. So I sold technical analysis. I understand the stuff, and I still can get whipsawed when I'm trading cryptocurrency.
Okay.
And part of the reason is because a lot of people have reached out to me and they think that cryptos are a get rich quick kind of a thing.
Exactly.
And there was the bubble, like there was the .com bubble, right? So you saw Bitcoin go to 20,000 and you saw Ethereum go to 1,400.
Mm-hmm.
And then Bitcoin went below 3,000 and Ethereum went to below, like, I think $70 at one point. So that bubble burst, just like the .com bubble burst, but out of .com came Google and came Amazon, right? So there are winners. And I believe that cryptocurrencies are here to stay. So I would put some money into it and leave it. I would not try to trade it. The difference between, do you want me to get a little technical?
Yeah,
so
get
people
technical. Yes, I'm learning.
Okay, so the difference between Bitcoin and, let's say, Ethereum, which is the second largest cryptocurrency, is that Bitcoin is like digital gold. It's a means of stored value. And Bitcoin's blockchain technology is only for Bitcoin.
Mm.
Ethereum has a blockchain technology that they will license out. And blockchain, I'm sure you hear this all the time, but people don't understand what blockchain is. And all blockchain is the way computers talk to one another.
Mm-hmm.
And that is the way of our future. It's here and it's going to be here to stay. And everything will be on blockchain, from your medical records to how insurance companies run to clearing trades. Everything you can think of will be on blockchain. Mortgages. So I'm betting that Ethereum is going to be one of the technologies that really take off, like Amazon took off during the .com.
Right.
Aside from that, so that's a long position. When I say buy and hold it, that's a long position that you will hold, hoping that, just like when you bought Amazon really cheap and now look where it is, that's the same thing you want with like Ethereum or Bitcoin.
Right.
Trading it is very treacherous, because trading it, there's something called whales, the whales in the crypto market.
Mm-hmm.
And what a whale is a big player. They take the coins off the exchange and then they come back onto the exchange. And when you see a whale come back onto the exchange, it's an uh-oh moment, because they're going to come in and start selling and they're going to pound down the price of Ethereum. But most of the time you don't know when there's a whale on the exchange. So you're very happy with your number of Ethereum that you have. And let's say you have 100 Ethereum, and then this whale comes on and knocks down the value of it. Now you've lost an awful lot of money, right? Or they will hype it up and you get caught up in the hype of it, and you keep buying and then they knock it down. So it's a very treacherous market, and I don't recommend the average person trading it. So I don't think.
So where would the
miss.
average person start? So where, if for someone that doesn't have the experience in trading, and, I told you my son's 20, he's been trading since he was 17, but he couldn't get a Sure Trader account until he was 18. So he taught himself. He was an athlete for years. A lot of people know that about him. He was a national motocross rider, was seriously injured, could not do athletics anymore. So he laid up for 9 months, not able to walk. So he entertained himself on YouTube, like all the kids do, right? But he entertained himself with learning how to trade. And so when he was able to, and he came out, he's wonderful. He's doing fantastic. You'd never know he was injured unless you saw his leg. It looks like he got bit by a shark. But other than that, he does great, plays basketball with his friends, works out. He's fantastic. But he's taught himself how to trade, and he started trading penny stocks. Trading penny stocks has taught him how to trade bigger and bigger. And he'll even tell me about, things I should be looking at in the market. So for the average person that says, you know what, I've got an extra $5,000 that I just don't want to sit in the bank in savings, I want to invest it in something. Where would the average person start in trading if they just wanted to put their money in something and let it sit? Or is that a good idea?
Well, I would not put that money in crypto. And I always say never risk what you're not willing to lose. If someone has $5,000 that if they lost tomorrow would not impact their ability to pay the rent or to put food on the table, then I would say go conservative, go into something called an ETF, an equity traded fund. But I would always, whenever people have reached out to me, I always try to steer people in the direction of conservative. If you want for fun to learn how to trade cryptocurrency, you could go on something called Crypto Watch. And that's where you can see all the technical analysis. And then you have to do a lot of research to understand technical analysis. So a common technical analysis that someone would use is something called Bollinger Bands. And that these give you signals on when to buy and when to sell.
Good information. Thank you, Elyse. I appreciate that, because that is something that's interested me for years, just because my son got interested in that. And he told me one day, he said, Mom, that company that they gave you they actually gave me stocks when I started working for them, and it wasn't worth anything because they weren't a public company at the time. But, I thought, oh, well, they gave me some shares, and once they become public, I can do it. Well, I ended up with I don't know, it was like 3 or 4,000, something like that, shares in this company. Well, when I left the company, I was like, so I just cashed them out. Boy, that was a mistake.
Uh-oh. Uh-oh.
That was such a mistake because my son had such joy in telling me that what I ended up with, which was less than 30 grand, is now worth over $500,000 if I sold
Oy.
right now. So yeah, he likes to tell me that story a couple of times just to get under my skin because he says, Mom,
Yeah, tell him to behave himself.
yeah, behave yourself. He's like, Mom, you didn't know what you were doing. I was like, no, I didn't. I mean, they gave it to me, right? So I didn't technically lose anything, but I could have gained so much
Right.
more had I.
Well, it's the opportunity cost, right? So,
It's
I mean, every
opportunity.
time I do a trade and I'm beating my chest like I think I'm King Kong, because I sold at a certain level and I'm just like, oh my God, I'm a goddess. And then the thing pops up another like 20 points and I'm like, oh, I'm such a loser. I could have made this. Yeah.
That's what my son does. He will literally FaceTime me and he'll go, Mom, I'm never trading again. He'll get so mad. And of course, right back at it the next morning. So he beats himself up worse than anybody ever would because he gets so frustrated over the tiniest loss, and he'll feel like such a king about something and then it'll just go skyrocket. And he was like, I don't even know what I'm doing. I'm not doing this anymore. But of course he gets
well, if he's going to be emotional about it, he's in the wrong industry though, because
look,
you do. Yeah.
about everything. This child, you should have seen him as an athlete.
my husband, who has a hedge fund, but he's just a very cerebral guy. He's German, like literally, from Germany. And he's just very calm. I never know if he had a good day in the market, a bad day in the market. I have to ask because I can't see it in his mood. When I lost money,
You would know if I lost
the world knows.
Yeah, I'd be tweeting out like really mean things or something. I lost too much money. I was like, I don't care. The world can come to an end. I'm so mad. Oh yeah, I would just be so mad at myself. That's funny. Well, thank you for that. Thank you for sharing that because that is something that has always interested me because of my son. And I really need to do a little more research like he does or really just learn from him because I think if you can risk something that you're willing to lose, you can go into ETF and start that way. And instead of,
Right.
Of course, crypto is probably not the best route, but thank you for educating us on that. And I want to shift a little bit and talk about your beautiful skin because you are the Chief Beauty Officer for Beauty Society, and they are the official sponsor for Miss USA and Miss Teen USA, which, pageants are close to my heart. They always will be. I still coach some of the girls on interview at the Miss LSU. I love it. I love it. I think it brings a sense of confidence to women. So when I saw that they are the official sponsor, I thought that was super cool because I didn't know that until after you and I had decided that we were going to chat on the show. So tell us a little bit of how you became invested and partnered with Beauty Society.
One of the salespeople, her name is Chris Ann, and she slid into my DMs and Instagram and asked me if she could send me some products. I'm not a girl that gets really into all these products, and I'm typically the girl that I'd buy something because my friend had it and I'd use it for a week or two and I'd be like, oh, well, this is crap. There's no difference. But I wouldn't throw it away because I spent money on it and I hate losing money, as you know.
Yeah, me too.
And so in 3 years, when it turned brown or some funky color, I was like, all right, well, I'll throw it away now. So when Chris Ann sent me the products, I thought, all right, well, it's quarantine. I've got nothing to do. I'll try all this little goodie basket that she sent me.
Nice.
And the first thing I tried was something called Saving Face Foaming Mask. And when I put it on, to be honest, I was not crazy about the smell. And while it was on, it felt like little ants were crawling on my face. And I'm thinking, is she kidding me? But I sucked it up. And when I washed it off, I couldn't believe the difference in my skin, not just how it felt, but visibly. I mean, it was mind-blowing. just the first time I used it.
Wow.
And they have a product in it. It's BTX with, they have BTX with retinol that they use in some of the other products, like the other one called All Nighter, which was the next thing I used. So I washed off the saving face and I put on the All Nighter. And the next morning, my husband looks at me and he's like, your skin is glowing. I didn't have great skin, I have to tell you. I mean, when I was filming, I was told you need a lot of makeup for the camera. So I had a lot of makeup on and it didn't sit well. And I felt like I had, the fine lines and the makeup was sitting in the lines.
Yeah.
And then I also did some filler because I thought, well, yeah, I'll do filler. Hey, I'm on TV now. I'm doing filler. But then I looked really lumpy. It just was. And when I watched myself on TV, I thought, do I look like that? And my husband
say that all the time.
Yeah. My husband's like, well, thank goodness the filler's now gone. The next morning, my skin was just glowing. So I was like, oh, I'm going to try this again. So I did it. And then I used even more of the products. And I was getting compliments from friends on my skin because I had problems, like I had large pores and I don't anymore.
Yeah.
So finally they reached out to me and they said, oh, how are you enjoying the products? And I said, well, I was actually going to call you, me being, an investor. And I'm like, how would you like to sell the company? I'd like to buy it. I don't want to just buy the product, I want the company.
I want the whole thing.
I want the whole thing, you got to think big.
That's right.
Jeannie was not selling her company because she knows that she has a gem. And she said, but let's partner. I would love to partner with you. And I said, okay, tell me, what can I do? And as I was talking to her about what I was experiencing using the products, we just had our back and forth. And she said, wow, Chief Beauty Officer, let's get you on board and let's partner up. And so that's what we've done.
Wow.
And I literally, like, if I'm tired and I go to bed without doing my routine, I literally will get out of bed, which I don't do for anything. I get out of bed and I'm like, no, I have to do my beauty society because I know it makes a difference.
It works. Yeah.
It's like,
wow.
I mean, it's incredible. The change is incredible.
You said the sales rep was Chris Ann. That was her name. Okay, Chris Ann. If you're listening to Real Girl Talk, slide into my DMs, and you can send me whatever you like.
Well, you know what? I'm gonna send you.
You're sweet. You're sweet. I am. So I love it. Look, I'm a beauty junkie. Okay. Here's the thing. I am a beauty junkie, and I will try anything once on my face. Would try anything. I have not done the fillers. Now, being a registered nurse, even though I haven't done bedside nursing in 15 years, I've been in the business, medical, healthcare world in corporate America. I still have my certification in Botox and fillers. So I can give you Botox and fillers, but I have personally never had fillers. My girlfriend and I was telling you about her, Kelsey Nichols, which she was on the Southern Charm of New Orleans. She's one of my best friends. We went and got certified together. And so we do each other's Botox.
Oh, nice.
And I haven't got up enough nerve to let her do filler in my lips, where I've had people tell me, oh, Sherry, you don't need that. But we all want to try something. We just want to see. And the thing is, it goes away. So why not? I'm really good at cheek filling. So one thing that I learned during my certification was that cheeks were my favorite. I mean, I remember this woman was sitting there. She was like, no, I really don't need anything. But I could see that she really needed it because I knew it was going to pull, not just raise her cheeks just a bit, but it was going to pull back the lower part of her skin. And so I did the cheek filler, and she looked in the mirror and she started crying. She goes, wow, oh my gosh, this looks so good. And it just made me feel so awesome. I was like, oh, maybe this is what I need to do for a living. That's med spa. This is what I need, Elyse. I need my own med spa. But we do, Kelsey and I can do each other's fillers. And as soon as I get up enough nerve, I'm going to let her do a little bit of filler on me now that we can do each other's Botox. So,
well, yeah, I just, some of my friends who use filler look awesome.
Yeah.
For some reason, I was not someone that looked good with filler
Beautiful. I mean, you
because
naturally,
I don't have any filler now, but I did
but you look
when I was
awesome.
filming.
Look at your
I
cheek.
had, thank you. I had in my jaw, I put a little bit. I thought, oh, I'll have a bigger jawline, or I did here, and I looked lumpy, and it was not a good look for me.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
and look, I save money by not doing it. So hey.
Save a lot of money because fillers and Botox is expensive and you have to keep that up. I need my Botox now, so I'm going to have to call Kelsey and tell her to come over and give me some Botox. At least I can get my Botox at cost because I have a friend that can do the injection. And then
Right.
the way I pay her is I can do her. So it works out between.
Oh, well, that works out.
But your
That's
skin
funny.
looks beautiful. So I am super interested in Beauty Society and I'm very excited about trying those products because, like I said, I am a beauty junkie. I believe we have to do whatever we need to do to make ourselves feel good as women. We have to start with the inside, right? So I'm about feeling
Right.
the inside, making yourself feel good because it doesn't matter what you look like on the outside if you really feel like crap on the inside and you don't have that strong spiritual connection, you don't have discipline in your life, you're just not happy. If you're not waking up with a morning routine that fills you up, then it doesn't really matter how good your hair looks because it
Right.
comes across. How you feel on the inside comes across on the outside. And I think we all know that as women. It's not just, something that we just say to empower someone. It's legit. We know.
I think that women, men too, right?
Yeah.
People, but especially women, you have to train yourself, make yourself count, and make every day count. And I was always the type of personality that I would think about the past and what I should have done differently, what I could have done differently. I replayed in my mind with, the path maybe I should have taken that I didn't take. And I wasted so much time worried about yesterday instead of just taking the lesson with me
Right.
and making today count. I spent so much time worrying about yesterday. I was losing my todays. And I'm also a girl who, I love chess. I love to think out the next, 5 or 6 moves. And I was living my life like a chessboard that I was planning out all of my tomorrows. Well, guess what? None of us are promised tomorrow, right? And you know this better than anyone.
Right.
And so my husband actually taught me, learn from the past. You can plan for tomorrow, but make today count. Right. And he and I, we only been married for 2 years, but we've been together for 6.5 years.
Wow.
And he would hold me accountable. And now I do that for other people. So I've met a bunch of people through my Instagram. A lot of young people reach out to me for advice. And I give them an assignment and I say, I want you every morning to send to me what your goal is for the day, what you're thankful for. And at the end of the day, what did you do to reach that goal and what made your day count?
Nice.
And it really, now people are being held accountable because they know that they have to answer.
Yeah.
And they're saying it's making a big difference in their life.
Absolutely, because you are making them accountable, but you're also one of those people that they feel that's in their tribe that they can count on to give them the inspiration that they need. I always say that you are the sum of the 5 people that you keep closest to you. And if there's a woman listening today and she doesn't feel like that she's in a good tribe of women, you need to get out. If you're in a room and you're the smartest person in the room, you're in the wrong room. You need to go into a room where everyone has already reached a level of where you want to be and where you want to grow, because that is the only way that you're going to level up. That's the only way that you're going to feel better than how you feel right now. I'm a 100% believer in that we always have room to bring women into our group that can empower us because we learn from each other. We've learned from you today. I've been in a room where people have come to me and said, oh my gosh, Sherry, I learned this, this, and this, and this from you. And that's wonderful. It makes you feel good. But if you have that kind of gift and you have that kind of talent, it's important that you go out and you share it. There's one thing to say that you're a woman empowerer, and there's another thing to be. Right. So actions speak louder than words. And when you're talking negative about someone, or you're in a group where people are talking about other people instead of about ideas and about adventures, then you are in the wrong group. You need to get in a group and level up with a group of women that can empower you.
On my Instagram, I do these little advice things,
I
and it
saw
was
those.
about this very thing. About a woman told me that her friends basically shame her for not partaking in what they considered girl talk. And this girl talk was talking behind other people's backs and very superficial things, as opposed to things to truly empower people.
Right.
So
Right.
you're saying basically what I was saying to her as well was you're in
Absolutely.
the wrong room.
You are in the wrong room. You're in the wrong group. You need to find another tribe. And, sometimes you can find that tribe online. I always say if you're following someone that doesn't bring value into your life and doesn't add to everyday life or help you make changes, then you're just delete them, unfollow, follow people that really light you up and can actually give you some knowledge, whether it be in business, beauty, or lifestyle tips, something that's going to help you reboot, regroup, and reinvent yourself. Those are the people that you want to follow. If you're not following those people, you need to follow them and unfollow those that are not bringing that into your life. And that being said, tell everybody where we can find you on social media.
I'm on Instagram at Elyse Slaine, and in my bio is the website for Beauty Society. And I actually just started a little Beauty Society community in the website where I want to do some giveaways.
Nice.
So whoever wants to go on there and join the Beauty Society, and then they'll be eligible for some giveaways. And I'm going to send you some products.
I love giveaways. So make sure that you go out and go to Elyse's social media so you can get to. And what is the website that is actually on your Instagram?
It's my website to link to the Beauty Society page. So it's just called Elyse Slaine's Beauty Community.
Okay.
And so if they go right to my bio, they'll see it right below where it says I'm a crypto trader. It has my Beauty Society, and they could go on there, and I'm happy to answer any questions about any of the products. It's, by the way, it's cruelty free. They do not test on animals. Yes.
Yeah. So that is very important. I'm glad that you brought that up because I meant to ask you that question. So that's really good because that's something I think that people are looking more and more at. It's one person that had really brought it to light about animal cruelty was Lisa Vanderpump. She really brought that to a level on Bravo, and now she's no longer on the show, but she doesn't stop. I mean, she means it when she does not tolerate animal cruelty. And she has her own store, they're in Hollywood, I believe it is. I haven't had the privilege of going over there and seeing the store, but I think that more people are seeing that and paying attention to their products and what the actual ingredients are. It's not just all about whether it has, Kylie Jenner's name on it, and I'm not saying that she has those ingredients. I don't know what her ingredients are, but just because you're buying something that has some celebrity's name on it doesn't mean that it is not cruelty free. And it doesn't mean that it doesn't have a lot of pesticides and a lot of bad ingredients. So make sure that you're paying attention to that, ladies, because I think that's super important. And that's probably
and beauty
so good.
Thank you. And Beauty Society is eco-friendly in that you can buy refills, which is a much smaller footprint than buying, the jar all over again. You can buy these refills, and with every refill, they plant a tree in the rainforest.
Nice.
So this is an incredible company.
Incredible. No wonder you wanted to buy it.
Yes.
Wow.
All the things that I'm passionate about.
I'm telling you. Well, if she ever lets you buy it, then I'll come on as the chief beauty officer.
Okay. Deal.
Well, thank you, Elyse. I appreciate you so much. Thank you for coming on Real Girl Talk.
Oh, you're very welcome. It was my pleasure.
Thank you for tuning in all the way through Real Girl Talk. Make sure you subscribe anywhere you listen to podcasts. And if you happen to have iTunes, would you do me a huge favor and leave us a rating and review of the show? That's the way that we get this message out to more and more people around the world. And selfishly giving us a review and rating, something good is going to come back your way. Plus, I know you're the type of person that wants others to live their best lives. So can you copy this link, share it to your friends, share it on social media? Remember, people need to be inspired. They need to have tips. They need to have business ideas more than ever right now. And I know that you can help me on this mission. Thank you again so much. If you want to be a supporter of the show, go back to realgirltalkpodcast.com, click Be a Supporter. Thank you again from the bottom of my heart for being a part of Real Girl Talk Podcast. And until next week, keep your encouragement tank full, your faith in God, and create your beautiful life.